Hi everyone, I am Brittany, the Cosmic Lunar Soul. I have Priscilla with me, and I have a special guest, Alana. I'm not going to go into too many introductions because we're doing the hashtag Tarot Community Build tag by, I believe it's Livy of Crescent Dreams Tarot. So if you want all of that information, all of the questions we're doing in the description box below. So hi guys. I'm so excited to be doing this collab with you, and welcome Luke, our first subscriber of the day.
Hi,
All right,
Luke.
let's go into the first question, and we're gonna have Alana start us off. The first question is super easy, so I don't think you'll have any trouble. Hopefully, it's just your name, preferred pronouns, and your channel name if you have one.
So, my name is Alana. My channel's name is 3 Degrees of Love, 3 Degrees of Love Divination. It was 3 Degrees of Love, and then I added divination later, so kind of just sort of going with that. My pronouns, love. Love is my pronoun. And banana.
Banana's helpful, actually.
She, yes, I go by she, whatever, but yeah, that's me.
Okay, that's easy. Priscilla.
I'm Priscilla, and my pronouns are she, her, and my channel is A Life Full of Simplicity. I know it's a mouthful, but that's my channel.
It is. Anytime I'm saying it, I'm like, okay, or typing it rather. I'm like, okay, do I have all of the elements in there? But I shouldn't talk because mine is kind of long too. So, I am Brittany, the Cosmic Lunar Soul. My pronouns are she, her, and I do have a channel, and you're on it. My channel name is Cosmic Lunar Soul. That's literally my handle anywhere. So if you see me on any other social media, that is me. And I have all of our social media listed in the description box. So if you aren't following, follow us on Instagram. Alana and I are also on TikTok, and then hop over to each other's YouTubes and follow there. So, second question is, what first got you into tarot, and why did you create your YouTube channel? Alana.
So, okay, let's try to go through all the 40 years that I've been alive. So tarot is something that I guess has been something that I've always been aware of. I never really got into it in my teens so much or anything like that. I mean, the odd, maybe I want a psychic reading or whatever, but I never really went down that rabbit hole, if you will, until maybe in the last several years of my life. There have been the odd times where I may have gone into a bookstore and maybe gone into the section, but I never really dove into it. The closest I would say that I ever really got to that was playing cards, and I've collected playing cards my entire life. Of course, it's funny because when my mom hears me say your entire life, it's like, oh, so when you came out of the womb, you were playing? No, Mom, obviously. I mean, come on. But anyways, for as long as I can remember, I've been playing cards. And then, I guess as my life sort of fell apart, and I started relying and diving into spirituality more. I worked in a Christian bookstore, but
oh, wow.
I was also very I was searching for something, and it was about knowledge, and it was about trying to make sense of what I was dealing with, because literally when I talk about the tower moment of my life, it has spanned a full 10 years, and it came crashing down in 2013 when my dad's mom had passed. So and then my mom's mom got sick around the same time. So all of that, of course, there was a lot of hypocrisy in the Christian bookstore. I walked away from that, and while my marriage was failing, my mom was like, I'm going to take you to a reader. We need to find out what's going on with you. What is wrong? Is there a curse? Okay. So we went, we did that, and then I ended up leaving my husband 2016. I moved where I am now. I met a friend who was into crystals and spirit guides and things like that. Not really into tarot, but it was around that same time I actually started looking more into tarot. And I actually purchased my first tarot deck, which was a Kickstarter. It took 2 years. That was the oh my god, now it's the True Black Tarot.
Oh,
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
that's a very expensive first purchase. Like you're like, I'm going to
I was
commit.
already in the world of Kickstarter at that time, and then somehow I saw that deck, and that was actually like something about it really intrigued me. And that was, you know, so in that time while I was waiting for that deck, I started, you know, diving further into tarot and learning more about it and blah blah blah. And then I ended up finding this Odyssey, which was a crystal store,
Mhm.
metaphysical store that, funny enough, was stapled in my entire childhood because I drove past with my mom all the time because I went to a dance school that was actually in the same plaza there.
Okay.
Mhm.
So that was funny. And then as I continue to, you know, life and stuff like that, and diving further into tarot and spirituality and, you know, that sort of freeform, you know, paganism and all of that, I realized that it's actually all the same. Somewhere along the way, we've divided.
Mhm.
And so it was learning all of that and submersing and gathering all this information and the spiritual awakening and whatever that was going on in my life that I was dealing with that was kind of happened very haphazardly, led me to want to start this channel.
Mhm.
And why I led to the name and called it that was through the, and it's funny because actually mentioning another YouTuber who I came across, and that's in Sadhana from Integrative. Is it, what's her channel's name? Yeah,
If you figure it out later, you can let us know.
yeah, I will
Yeah.
put it in. But anyway, Integrative Healing with Sadhana, I think. Don't quote me on that, but anyways, lovely woman in Vancouver. I took one of her classes, and one of the things was learning about, you know, what is the thing that you admire most? What is it about the people around you that you care about and you love? That what is it about them, the characteristic about them that you value the most? Which was love. So thus I realized that has been who I've always been.
Mhm.
And then of course, right, the diving deeper and further and learning about love and what that is and combining that with my knowledge of spirituality, you know, my religious upbringing, even though I don't, you know, adhere to a lot of the practices, but I still hold some of those things, you know, near and dear, the values, and then, you know, bringing that and combining that with, you know, with paganism and tarot and all of that. And that is how we've come today to arrive at me and my channel. And yeah, very long-winded, I know.
No, I mean,
No, that was a good story.
I think it's relatable to a lot of people in different ways.
Definitely.
Sil, what about you? What first got you into tarot, and why'd you create your channel?
So I'm assuming people who have been following me for a while already know the story of why I got into tarot, but so if this is a repeat, you've heard this already, apologies, because I have talked about it on my channel before. But I actually got into tarot back in 2014. And it was because of a class that I took in university at the time in 2013. So I took a class in university. It was a religion course called Witchcraft, Magic, and Religion. And we talked about witchcraft and like Salem trials and all the trials
Oh,
and things that were going
cool.
on in that, and talks about like the history up until like modern times. So at the end of the year, since we reached the modern times at the end of the year, we talked about like paganism, witchcraft, and Wicca and things like that.
Mhm.
And we had a guest speaker come in who was actually part of the pagan community where I live in Montreal. And he talked to us about the pagan community in Montreal and things like that. And I thought that was really interesting. I actually ended up following the group specifically for Montreal pagans, which he runs. And when they were doing like Sabbats and things at the time, they were doing like events and things. I didn't end up going to any of them, but at the time when they were doing them, I got to see like the different events that were on the Facebook group. But
Mhm.
I ended up doing research from that and found tarot in that research, though I didn't do very good research because I got my first deck in 2014 and I thought it was tarot, but it ended up being later on, which I discovered many years later, it actually ended up being an oracle deck.
Mhm.
And I spent time with the deck. It was
What deck
the
was it?
psychic it was the psychic tarot oracle cards.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
that was one of my first ones too.
Yeah, so it's not an actual tarot deck. They only have they have like the cards for the major arcana, and then they have in the minor suits, they have only 1 to 9, and they have no court cards, and then they have a few chakra cards.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, so there's no tens and there's no courts.
Mhm.
So I spent, I think, a year with that deck, and then I got like really too busy, and I decided to just put it aside, and I didn't like come back to it until late 2018. I wanted to get back into it and like get back into it and buy decks and learn better how to read tarot and things like that. So I picked up the deck, which was on my shelf at the time collecting dust. And then I did research and found out the deck I had was Oracle and not Tarot, and what the difference was between Oracle and Tarot. And I was like, oh, okay. So then I bought my real first tarot deck in the beginning of 2019, which was the Wild Unknown
Mhm.
Tarot by Kim Kranz. So I
Yep.
learned tarot on that deck.
That's
And
that is actually a pretty advanced deck to be learning tarot.
I know, but
I
I did
agree.
it. I did it, but it took work. But I love that deck. It's one of my
Me
favorites. So
too. Me too.
Couldn't tell at all.
yeah, especially since I have like her entire collection. But yeah, so that's how I got into tarot specifically then. And then how I made my channel. So I started getting into tarot 2019, late 2018, 2019, and then I bought a few more decks in 2019, and then I decided to start making videos on Instagram in the beginning of 2020. So Instagram used to have a thing called what do you call it? IGTV, and I made some videos. I did lives actually. I used to do lives and things on IGTV.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
if you go back to my Instagram, everything is still there. If you go back, some of them were lives and things. And it was really fun, I guess, in the beginning. But yeah, I did these videos and then I was like, okay, they were making changes. Instagram was kind of getting weird. And then I was like, okay, should I move to YouTube? So I was like, in the end of 2020, I was like, okay, I'm gonna move to YouTube. So I ended up moving to YouTube, and I started my channel at the end of 2020, but posted my first video literally at the start of the year 2021. So January 2nd, 2021, that's when I posted my first video, and I've been on YouTube ever since. So
Mhm.
2.5 years now. Um and my channel name, or my name in general, actually started because of my Instagram. And my Instagram originally was my Instagram was associated with photography. So I actually started, if you like scroll all the way, if
You
you're,
know what? Right now, I'm telling you right now, the cookies are like, yeah,
yeah, if you scroll all the way to like the first few photos, it's all like, what do you call it? It's all photography. And then you get into like the tarot.
So it's just like a cutoff, and then
Yeah, so I did like a lot of photography in the beginning. I love photography. And sometimes there was like a mix of like tarot and photography in the beginning. I should get back into posting photography. I haven't done that in a while, but yeah, so I actually created a life full of simplicity specifically for photography, and then I just kept the name, and my name has been like that for the whole time.
I could tell the
So,
photography influences in your photos.
yeah, I love photography like so much.
It's funny you say that because I used to do I got into photography in grad school because I needed a way to relieve a lot of the stress. I
Yeah.
even joined like a local photographic society, and I joined in their end
Ooh.
of year like photo things and stuff like that. Like I got
Mhm.
really big into it. And then I just kind of fell off, I guess, when the stress ended. But I
Yeah.
still like it. It's just not as big a hobby anymore.
Yeah, I love
So
it.
that's super cool. I like that connection between us.
Yeah.
So before I get into me, I do want to say Luke answered both questions, but I'll read his second question. He said he got into tarot after talking to a friend who was raised pagan and his collection of tarot cards, and he realized he could use them for his future profession as a pediatric therapist. So that's kind of cool.
Ooh.
Yeah. And also, welcome, Violet. Thanks for listening to us while you clean. So for me, I got into tarot because, well, I started to get into the world of witchcraft and stuff like that, and that was really my goal. I had no intention of really diving into divination, but I had a friend who did like tarot, and I wanted to get her a gift. So technically, my first tarot purchase was for someone else, and I wanted to make sure I was buying things that were good, I guess, and also making sure I wasn't being disrespectful in some kind of way. And if anybody who knows me knows, I kind of research things obsessively before I buy them. So that's kind of how I accidentally pulled myself into tarot, was through that. It wasn't even for myself. So haha, here we go. But so I remember going into the shop and talking to the local shopkeeper, into the metaphysical shop, and it's just like, okay, I know I'm looking for a tarot deck, and I know that she's read but not like religiously, so she's still sort of a beginner, and just asking all these questions that sort of ended up applying to me as well. And then after I gifted her deck, and I was like, this is kind of cool. I actually think divination's interesting because I feel like I kind of fell into what a lot of the general public thinks about divination. It's like this woo-woo, reading the future kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
it just didn't reconcile with my like science brain. I was like, oh, that's garbage. But but my friend likes it, so I'll get her something cool. So luckily, because of her, I was able to research it and really learn about divination and how it works and how it can be used to like in tandem with witchcraft, and how it can be used in tandem with psychology and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I ended up diving into it. I created, actually, I also turned my Instagram into my tarot Instagram, because I wanted a way that would force me to practice, and I feel like I needed an account in order to be part of a community to do that. So that's kind of how my Instagram became a thing. And then I changed my Instagram name. I actually originally wanted to be the Cosmic Witch, but that is very used on Instagram. So
My
I
God,
ended
yeah.
up being Cosmic Lunar Soul because I wanted something cosmic based or spacey themed, and that just kind of became the handle that stuck everywhere. And So I joined Instagram to do that. I started doing lives on Instagram so I could practice. Periodically, even now, still I do like request reading kind of thing, and I'll just pull a card or throw some bones or something like that. And then I realized that Instagram wasn't quite the platform that I was looking for to do all of those things. So then I branched out into YouTube. It started mostly to do like reviews of like my witchy boxes. And then I realized one of the processes that I really like when I get a new tarot deck or oracle deck or anything is to kind of flip through them and look at the cards. And I was like, this would be cool because I watch flip throughs. I'm sure other people would be interested in them, so I should do them. And that became part of my bonding process with decks. Like, I have a pile of decks that I will not use until I do a flip through of them for YouTube. So it's all part of like built into my practice now somehow. Kind of how the YouTube portion of it came around, and then realized I really liked it and built like this little community between Instagram and YouTube, and just being able to share my like voice and I guess join in conversations for the different communities, both tarot and witchy. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on the needing to film an unboxing.
Yes.
We're using the deck because I'm like that too sometimes. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes, yeah.
It's very rare. It depends on the deck. But almost, especially ones I buy for myself, I'm like, oh, I definitely like I bought it for a reason, so I want to show it off.
Yeah.
Give me a chance to.
And you know what? For me, it's complete opposite. The complete opposite. I buy my tarot decks, and to me, they're for me.
Yeah.
So me and my piggies, we want to enjoy our tarot decks. Like, screw the rest of you. We'll enjoy like the rest of everybody else. We'll enjoy the flip throughs and enjoy everybody else who puts those out. But when it comes to me and my decks, we're like, no, we don't have the time for that. Listen, we don't know. What? No, we want to open it. We want to enjoy our decks and let's play. And yeah. Then somehow along the way, I'm like, this would have been a filming opportunity. And then I'm just like,
after the fact.
After the fact. And then afterwards, I'm like, yeah, screw it. No, there's too much work for me. And then I have to edit it afterwards. Listen, no. If I'm going to spend the time to editing, it's going to be because it's something that I feel is constructive. And to me, flipping through that is not constructive for me. Although my piggies and I, we very much enjoy when other people do it. So we love it when you guys do it. And we're all excited for your videos when they come out because you guys do such an amazing job. And even everybody else out there who are doing videos, we very much enjoy seeing that. And we get very immersed to, you know, in everybody's what's the word, reactions as they're opening it and stuff like that. And it's the best too when it's we're watching a video that is of a deck that we know we love and this other person is, and so there are times when we'll like finally get our deck and we'll know there's a walkthrough coming and we'll sit there with the deck watching the walkthrough as we open it and we have a blast.
Oh, that's such a cool idea.
Right? And I have such a blast with doing that. Like, cause like, I'm like, I think about the fact that, oh yeah, I'm doing this with like, you know, somebody I admire who unfortunately isn't where, you know, isn't with me, but at least I can enjoy in this excitement with them. Right. So I very much enjoy doing that. But it's like, it's the editing and the posting and the promoting, and I'm just like, and that's the hard part, right? So, but we want to do it and we want to continue the channel, and because of, you know, what we feel we've been getting out of tarot and how we combine that with therapy and stuff like that now, and how helpful that has been. So we're very passionate about that, and I say we because I'm talking about all my minions and opinions and piggies, which I consider my spirit guides and my feelings. And that whole story is another topic that came out of therapy. So but you know, I love when you guys do your videos, and even to hear, you know, the feedback that you guys have about certain decks and things, and I'm like, I never really thought about that. That's cool. Or yeah, I feel exactly the same way. And so I'm watching your guys' videos, and I'm totally talking to you like you're right there in my living room. Which you're not, and I'm sure because I live in a condo, and my unit is actually right by the elevator. So when I'm like shouting at the TV and things like that, I can only imagine that people are hearing me and thinking, "What kind of weirdo lives there?"
Usually my reaction is like Syl gets more, she goes through more decks than I do, so she has way more reviews. So I'm like, another one I have to add to the wish list. My experience is a little different, but
yeah, it's okay. I add lots of decks all the time to my wish list. My wish list, I have 3, so I keep my wish list separate for tarot and oracle, and then I have one specifically for books. So my wish lists are like separate, so they're very long.
I have a books wish list that's separate. So I have a witchy books wish list,
Me
tarot
too,
books,
witchy books.
and then I just have like divination. So because I've paired some stuff over time, so I combine them. So I was like, I gotta cool it.
No, I had them combined at one point, and then I couldn't find stuff, so I separated them. For me, it's just easier to separate them. I also have a 4th list that's just like other witchy stuff.
Yeah,
just like an other category.
Me and my piggies were very impulsive, so most of the time the things that are on my wish list somehow magically end up in my home, and then they sit there until I get around to using them. But having separate, I'm trying now as I, you know, and I'm realizing that I guess I am a compulsive spender, and that is something that is connected to my whole thing with therapy and whatever. So trying to not be as impulsive and trying to tame my piggies from, you know, just burning my wallets, because you know, I tried my best.
Yeah, I put myself on a low buy this year. Not a no buy, but a low buy. And I feel like I've been doing really good.
Yeah, you have, actually.
Yeah.
You haven't bought that much. So.
I had pre-ordered the Citadel deck. I pre-ordered the oh gosh, the Oracle that goes with the Ethereal Visions. And then I think I got that what's that other deck? I literally went away for 2 weeks and I don't remember anything anymore. I got that new Oracle deck that I just released. So I feel like I've gotten like maybe about 5 things so far this year, which is good. Yeah. Because I bought way more things last year by this time of year. So
yeah, me too.
My piggies are a little bit envious because you guys now get the decks, or a lot of the decks, for free. So as reviewers, and that's fantastic. And you know, my piggies are like, and I'm like, well, you know, piggies, if you really want to, you can dedicate yourself and become a reviewer, and then that you rate. And I'm like, and the piggies are just like, no, we just want the deck. No.
Yeah. Because
you just want the deck. However you can get it into their collection, we're happy. Just, but
I feel like if you're not into like reviewing things, your heart won't be into it. It'll feel like more work than it is. I feel like it'll take the fun out of receiving tarot decks. You know what I mean? So because there are certain things
like it's not always like that though, because there are some sometimes.
We kind of lost you a little bit.
Right.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, like there are some decks that we very much enjoy and would probably enjoy doing reviews and stuff like that too. But I think one of the things because of the whole editing process and things like that, I feel like if we are going to do reviews, we like collab things like this. If we're going to or do a live, so then there's no editing that has to be attained afterwards and things like that, right? So that is that I would say, if when it comes to reviewing stuff, if I am going to review stuff, that's how I probably would prefer to do it, and would have a blast doing it, like even like right now, like with you guys. This is fun. I have forgotten about all my problems until just now when I decided to remind myself of them. But
but yeah, I mean, Sil and I have done we did a live unboxing once, and that was super fun. So we could totally do that in the future.
Yeah.
All right,
sure.
let's go on to the next question, because I'm really curious about this with you guys. I feel like mine is not obvious, but less exciting. Number 3, what is your tarot aesthetic? So basically, what kind of decks are you attracted to? And let's keep it specifically tarot, because I feel like there's so much variety in Oracle that it's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Oh, Alana.
Oh, I'm going first. Yes.
Yeah.
So okay. So for me, tarot, I would say I'm very eclectic. When it comes to tarot, if there is to be a requirement, well, I'm very much a nerd. So, and I'm very much well, like literature is definitely one of my things. So for me, a good tarot deck comes with a very good guidebook. And not to say that I don't enjoy other tarot decks that don't have guidebooks, but I think I gravitate more towards decks with great guidebooks. And also have no, it doesn't necessarily have to have a storyline, but I guess when
you say storyline, do you mean like theme?
Yeah, like, okay, for example, Tarot of Tales.
I see.
I love this deck. This is a newer deck, but I love it, and I'm working with it right now. I very much enjoy Tarot of the Abyss. The way Anatolian, even like the guidebook, it's amazing. And I think tarot decks that also sort of theme towards real life. So like the Next World Tarot or New Era Elements, for example.
So like decks that are more modern, I guess, right? Because usually more modern decks are usually geared more towards real life, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess so, in a way. Yeah, I do like that. Not to say like, our DWS clones and things like that aren't fantastic decks too. One of my favorites, more recent, would be the Black Femme Tarot.
Yes. They have a pocket edition coming out of that, no?
Yeah.
Sorry, gotta plug that.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely. Shameless plug.
I had the artist on my channel. We did, right, and there's Oracle decks that are coming out that she has.
Excited.
So if you haven't seen the interview,
all over that.
If you haven't seen the interview that I did with her, you will definitely want to check that out. Amazing creator, and her story and how she fell into tarot is a very haphazard, like the way I describe it is like she tripped on a sidewalk and oops, I'm into tarot, and now I create tarot decks.
Yeah.
Like
I
that,
love that.
it was a crack on the sidewalk. That's
I love when that happens though.
right. So
Just like meant to be.
anyways, yeah, and so now all my piggies are excited for the Oracle deck, the mini deck that she has coming out. We're just like,
Yeah.
So, and even with her guidebook is it is very minimal. It's small. But do you have the deck in front of you?
I do.
Pretty, yay, because I don't. So that's great. Mine's put away. But it's even the way that she has laid it out. Like it's like graffiti kind of, like I don't know how to describe it, but it's super cool. Like I just like the way it's set up and laid out.
Unique, but still informative.
Very, exactly, right? So things like that really attract me. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally guidebooks are, even though I don't generally like need a guidebook, I still appreciate when a guidebook is not just an afterthought.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So what about you? Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Just a quick thing to add was, I think for me, what it is, it's like the guidebook enhances for me the reading. Like I can interpret the cards a certain way, but it's like there's the artist's interpretation, the creator's interpretation for me adds that extra oomph of message that you really only get if they have the guidebook, right? So
yeah, totally get you, especially with indie decks. Like I go out of my way to support them for a reason. I want your thoughts in the guidebook.
Yeah,
exactly.
All right, sorry, did not mean to accidentally cut you off.
That's okay, no worries.
I got excited. All right, Sil, tell us what your tarot aesthetic is.
Sure. I was just sharing your your unboxing for your Black Femme tarot, Brittany.
Thank
so
you.
yeah, check that out if you want to look at the unboxing of the deck. It's really nice. Yeah, for me, okay, tarot aesthetic. It's so hard because I have like so many different aesthetics in my collection when it comes to tarot. I do gravitate towards a lot of like I do like a lot of watercolor when it comes to art. I also like a lot of plant decks. I have a lot of animal decks when it comes to tarot. I love animal decks. So that's probably an aesthetic that probably I gravitate towards a lot. And I do like a lot of modern decks, and modern in the sense of it doesn't matter, even if it's like an RWS clone, because I do have quite a number of RWS clones that are like modern versions of the RWS, which is totally fine with me to have.
Yeah.
I would say some of my favorites are probably the Lightseers, and then like the newest one to my collection, which is the This Might Hurt Tarot. That's probably one that's I really love in terms of like RWS clone that's modern. Yeah, I would say I like a lot of theme decks. I don't, yeah, I like a lot of theme decks, the decks that have like a lot of themes and things like that. So, um,
I guess.
I also like a lot of art decks, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm very eclectic also when it comes to, as long as I like the art style and the art, I'm into the deck pretty much a lot of the time. I don't gravitate towards black and white decks too much. Like the only one that I have really in my collection is the Wild Unknown Tarot.
Yeah, and that one's only barely black and white.
Yeah, it's black and white, but there's pops of color, right?
Exactly.
And that's what I love. And that's what I love about her artwork, Kim Kranz.
It's the choice of color in certain aspects. I totally agree.
Exactly. But that, I think that's the only deck that I have in terms of tarot that is black and white. I don't own any other black and white, so that's one that I don't really gravitate towards, I guess. But in terms of art style, as long as I'm into the art, as long as the art grabs me in some way, then I typically will bring the deck into my collection. I would also agree that a guidebook is great, like if it's well done, though I personally don't care much if it's not. So, like, if it's like a tuckbox deck, for example, and I really love the deck itself,
Mhm.
I don't care that it's a little white book, for
Yeah.
example, like a Low Scarabeo
Yeah.
deck. Low Scarabeo, they don't really do their guidebook that well because of the multilingual aspect.
Yeah.
So they have to cut it short to be able to include all the other languages. But US Games does a little white book pretty good with their tuck boxes. It's their paragraphs, but they're still pretty detailed in my opinion.
Mhm.
So I don't really mind if it's a little white book. If the little white book is done well, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But as long as I'm good with the deck, like the artwork and everything, then the guidebook is whatever.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't think a guidebook would keep me from buying a deck, but it might give a
No.
deck a boost, especially depending on the
Yes. Same.
price and stuff. There are a few factors that go in there.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're gonna do like a luxury, like for example, the Fyodor Pavlov tarot from US Games, the guidebook that they chose to do was it's a hardcover bound book. So of course the price of that deck is a lot more expensive because they went luxurious with the packaging
Yeah,
and the guidebook and things like that. And hardcover guidebooks are expensive to
they
make.
are.
So that's nice, and the guidebook I've heard is really good with that deck,
Mhm.
so that's just a extra bonus, I guess, in that sense. But yeah, I think for the most part, I'm pretty eclectic when it comes to art style. I just have to gravitate towards the art to really love the deck.
Mhm. I would say for me, I mean, I think out of the three of you guys, I'm obviously the most picky.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is that necessarily draws me into a deck. I just know there are certain things that will absolutely make me dislike a deck. Um,
Okay.
like for instance, I don't like when the suits are renamed. There are certain names that kind of are all
Mm,
similar. Like, I'm not going to be upset if it's, instead of swords, it's daggers or something like that. But I don't like when they're like just rename something wild. I also generally don't like when the courts are renamed. I don't mind it with the wild unknown for whatever reason, but usually I don't like that
yeah.
either. um, but I feel like I enjoy unique takes on Rider-Waite-Smith clones. So I have a lot of them, I feel like. I have my cat tarot. I do have the light seers. I have the Philly tarot. I have a lot of clones, I feel like. So I think I like
Me too.
unique takes on them for whatever reason. I don't know. Something I'll have to dive into one day. But then I also do like to see unique I think things that are out of the box but still fit my art aesthetic. I will say the Black Femme Tower is probably the most outside of my art aesthetic in terms of I like
Okay.
I generally don't buy pastel decks. For example,
Oh yeah.
I think this might be my only pastel deck, but I
Which
really
one?
liked,
The Black
the
Femme.
Black
Oh,
Femme.
the Black Femme is the only pastel you're saying.
Yeah. I tend not to gravitate towards them. I do like a lot of color in my deck as well. So yeah, I don't know that I could actually in a few words say that what my tarot aesthetic is. I just randomly haphazardly like things.
Yeah. I actually don't mind when creators rename the suits,
Yeah.
especially if they're a theme, like if it's a theme deck. I actually love that because you're going with the theme.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually prefer if you're going to rename, I like the elements, like the suits as the elements. As long as you're doing the elements where like fire is wands
Yes.
and air is
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
swords, because sometimes people switch them
Yeah.
and I'm just like, no.
Yeah. That is
Exactly.
definitely
I would agree.
yeah.
So, like for example, a deck that to me that does that with the renaming that I'm kind of like is it's US Games. I think it's the Harmony Tarot. I was looking at that deck and it seemed and it's very much geared towards
That one goes by seasons. It's renamed by season: spring, winter, fall.
Is it? Well, the court cards, I think the court cards have some weird names. And yeah, I'm looking at
the one by Harmony Nice,
and I'm like, what's that? Say that again.
Is it the one by Harmony Nice?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
So it came out twice, I think. The first time it came out, the packaging was bigger. I think the
Yes, because the first time it was indie.
What was it? But then US Games was still selling it though.
No, US Games picked it up and made it into smaller packaging. So the first time she actually self-published, and then
it was
then
self-published, because I thought,
yeah,
because when you look at because it is available on Amazon. So, and then when I looked, I thought it was part of US Games at first with the packaging, because I know, yeah, as you said, US Games picked it up, but they have the new packaging, which I really like. And because of it's geared towards self-care and things like that, I'm like, I want it. But then I saw a flip through and I saw the names were changed, and I'm like, why?
Yeah, the major arcana are changed.
Yeah,
the major arcana is changed. So that particular deck, actually, the original release of it in the bigger packaging, there's no numbers in the major arcana, which makes it very confusing, because they changed the entire major arcana, the names of the entire major arcana. And I think people complained a lot in regards to that deck, because they couldn't figure out which one was the magician, which one was this, which one was that.
Yeah.
So in the next packaging release, US Games, I think, picked it up in the next packaging release, and they changed and added the numbers to the major arcana. But the minor arcana are named by the seasons. So it's spring, winter, fall, and summer. That's how the minor arcana goes. In that sense. The core cards, I don't remember what they're called, but
I think they are actually just regular. Looking at it, I'm looking at it on USA Games. It's Page, King.
Okay, so the courts then should be fine, but the minors are named by the seasons. I don't remember in the original release if there was any changes to that specifically, but yeah, the biggest complaint was with the major arcana with the original box sets, because of the fact that there was no numbers in the major arcana, which I don't blame people. That's very hard. Like, if you're learning tarot and you want that deck for the first time, you need to have there should be numbering, right? Like, even if it's like Roman numerals or something, like anything really, there, if you're going to change the title, you should put the numbers.
That
so
deck
that way
is
people
actually
know.
A good example of everything I hate about a tarot deck. Every single thing.
That's why I
hate the fact that the majors are changed. I hate the naming of the minors. I hate the artwork. It's flabbergasting.
I actually love the artwork, but if I were to get this, I would get the US Games version.
That would at least be easier to manage, for sure.
So I'm since it's released, I have been thinking about it. With US Games, I have been thinking about it because I really like the packaging, and I'm a nerd that way. The piggies, they have a thing for packaging, so so that alone is kind of where we're leaning at oh yeah, the deck looks really pretty, but then the practicality of everything being changed, we're like, so that's why that is still kind of sitting where it is at. Which is still on US Games website and not in our collection.
It's funny, it's like the rare instance where something's picked up and they actually do it way better. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Had to pick Luna up.
No worries.
Luna.
I've had both cats on stream today. Okay. You guys ready for the next question?
Yeah.
Yep.
Felt like this one's an easy one. What tarot system is your favorite and which do you want to learn?
Okay.
We're on number 4 now, just if you're keeping track in the questions that are linked.
Yeah, we're at number 4.
Okay. So, this one. I wouldn't say that I have a favorite.
Hmm.
I feel like, and I guess maybe this is just how I am. I tend to pick up things rather quickly. And I guess in the sense of what we have Marseille, RWS and Thoth. And probably some others. But the way I read tarot, I don't adhere necessarily to a particular system. I read the cards as they are, so it really doesn't matter which, for me, which, um, you know what I mean, which
Hmm.
thing I adhere to.
Yeah.
I I will use all of them at any point in time, and I would say that my knowledge for the way that each of them work, um, is very, I guess, basic, but basic enough to where I could read, I can pick up and read any deck and be okay with that.
Yeah.
Not to say like, like I have to adhere to any particular system. So
Right. So a specific system, like if a deck is a specific system, it's not gonna make you want or not want it. It's just a thing that it is.
it just exactly.
Okay.
It's just once I know it's a Marseille, then I'm gonna read it as per Marseille standards or whatever from the most part. But other than that, no,
Okay.
it really doesn't matter. I like them all. So yeah.
Okay. So technically there's nothing you need to really learn because you kind of know them all then, right?
Well, I mean, okay,
Sort of.
but that's okay. So I guess that depends now, because if we're now going into like other things like Lenormand or Kipper or whatever, those are a little bit different. But
I
if we're
consider
sticking
them
specifically with
cartomancy, but
tarot,
not tarot. I don't.
say that again.
Yeah, but Livy did mention Lenormand in their
Oh, did she?
video
Okay.
as a system, as like a system to learn, because
Oh,
it
okay.
technically is still a system. It's just
It
not
is.
tarot related.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So
Gotcha.
in those respects, like if we're just talking strictly tarot, then yeah, I don't think that there's anything that I'm geared to say I want to learn.
Mhm.
Lenormand, on the other hand, and maybe Kipper and things like that, probably diving into its traditional form a little bit more. I do have Kipper and I do have Lenormand, but the way that I'm reading those right now are just like a standard oracle. Like I wouldn't
Mm,
actually do like an
okay,
actual like Lenormand reading or whatever like that.
gotcha.
Yeah.
love Lenormand. Lenormand is so good.
So yeah,
Okay.
that
I will
that
broaden my
that aspect of
horizons.
doing like an actual Lenormand reading, that would be something I would want to maybe further study later on. But right now, as it stands, I just read
Yeah,
it like a typical oracle, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I
So
love numerology.
yes, you do.
I do. Yeah.
So what about you, Sil?
RWS would be my favorite system if we're going to talk about favorites out of the three main, I guess, well-known systems, which would
Yeah.
be RWS, Thoth, and then Marseille. Um, I started sort of learning Thoth, but haven't really gotten far. So I do want to continue studying that. Not everything is the same with Thoth as it is with RWS, and I just want to study the artwork more because the artwork is definitely way more different than RWS. And then I really want to learn Marseille. I already love pip decks, so I think Marseille's will be in my wheelhouse, and I
Yeah.
already love using numerology in reading, so I think Marseille would probably be easier than Thoth in my opinion. So maybe I
In that
should go with
regard,
that first.
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
I should
Yeah,
probably go with that first, but
I would probably agree. Like so the when yeah, as you mentioned, reading with like adding numerology, I think
yeah.
I'm very much into that too. Like um and so base, and then of course if I'm reading like Thoth versus RWS, I'm paying attention to the numbers that way. So like, and this is where I find that it kind of gets a little bit weird for me. Why I find that I don't adhere to any particular one system when it comes to tarot is because of the fact that 8 and 11 tend to be interchangeable. And even though technically the thought system is supposed to be justice is in the 8, I believe, and
that's how Thoth is. Thoth is
right
8 justice, and then strength is the 11th.
exactly. But there are a lot of
RWS
is the other
different.
way around.
Yeah, he
but
changed
there
it.
are a lot of clones that even they may adhere to RWS, but they still have the numbers switched. So
in my opinion, then that would be a Thoth RWS hybrid and not fully Thoth or fully RWS if you're switching the thing, because if you're an RWS clone, then you're gonna adhere exactly to RWS, and if you're a Thoth clone, you're gonna adhere strictly to Thoth. So I would say that's a hybrid between the two, and many decks do that. Like the Wild Unknown is a hybrid of both RWS and Thoth together. So
and so I
people
think
do it all the time.
And so I think that's also why I feel very free spirited when it comes to like reading and not adhering to any one particular system is because of that. So so when you say you add numerology into your thing, like that's totally me too. So
but I would say like for me, like in terms of learning like Marseille, because Marseille is different. It's not only bringing in numerology, there is like interpretations based on the artwork, right, with the foliage and the flowering and things like that, like the visual interpretation of Marseille. That's what I really want to learn. I want to learn that, the fact that there's that other layer of interpretation. It's not just the pips and using numerology. It's also using the fact that while they are pips, there's still things happening in the pips with the foliage and things like that. And I recently I had pre-ordered the squid cake Marseille. And I got that in March. But I really want to get like a traditional Marseille, though I really don't like the coloring of Marseille. I have literally only 2 on my
do you have
wish list that I really like, but
do you have the Maricelia Marseille? I forget what that one's called.
No, that's one is by US Games. It's the one in the tin, right? Yeah. The coloring is not really my fave, to be honest with you. The ones that I have on my wish list are the Marseille from Debray. I don't know how you pronounce that one. That one's nice. I like the coloring of that one. It looks really nice. And then the playing Marseille, which is from US Games. It's from what's the person's name? Edward something, I think. He also does the playing Lenormand. Maybe Marseille, maybe Lenormand. That's it.
Okay.
I like the coloring of that one. Those 2 actually. I'm thinking about getting that Lenormand at some point also. I need more Lenormand in my collection. I only have 3.
So Cheyenne was saying that it could also be based on Marseille if the 8 and 11s are switched, because Marseille and Thoth both have the 8 and 11 switched.
I guess it depends on the minors, what's going on in the minors.
It depends a little bit, I would say, on like the core cards and probably the images on the cards as well, because of the style of Marseille. So I think it would, like
Thoth though is not that scenic, but there's still things going on in the Thoth in the minors, whereas Marseille is really pip with just like the foliage things going on. So
I think diving into any one of the systems would be really cool, but as it stands at this point, that sort of surface sort of broad kind of way of approaching it is what I've been doing, and I feel like that's kind of where I'm comfortable at right now as it is. So but any like diving into any one of those traditional things at any point in time would be really cool, I think. So
I like the artwork of it. I know that it's playing card in the minors, but I like the artwork. I think I would probably get the Marseille from DeBrig. I don't know how you say their company
I
name,
say
but
Debra.
okay.
I thought you were saying DeVry for the longest time. I
No,
did not think
they're
of
like
that, but cool.
they're
Well,
like an
this is the one.
indie
We're talking
publishing
about the
house.
one here that malfunctioned when saying my name, Alana Banana. So
Yeah.
Oh
we'll
yeah.
yeah.
just
Yeah, the one by DeBrig, Debra.
Debra.
I don't know how you pronounce but they're on Amazon. It's on Amazon. I like that coloring of that particular Marseille, and that one's traditional through and through, like the
Yeah.
majors, the minors, the quarts, and everything. So, and I'm pretty sure it's in French also because Squid Cake Marseille is not the actual cards are not in French like the traditional. They're in English. But they're written in French in the guidebook. Like in the guidebook, it gives you the actual French name in the guidebook in
Oh,
brackets.
cool.
So
I think for me, I'm like solidly a Rider-Waite Smith girl. I don't think I will ever willingly learn Thoth. And then maybe I will reluctantly, kicking and screaming, learn Marseille. But yeah.
well, you want a Marseille deck recently.
I know.
So.
That's why I was just like, now I kind of have to learn a little bit. I don't have to go too far down the rabbit hole.
Wait, you won a Marseille deck? What deck did you win?
From Bouchette Designs. They're the ones that created the do I have it here? They're the ones that created the Meraki Tarot, and they're coming out with their 3rd edition, and then they're coming out with an Oracle deck as well, and then they came out.
They have a lot of different things in the works.
Yes, they have a lot going on.
I think their Marseille is it still funding on Kickstarter?
Yeah, it is. It's currently on
Metonia Marseille is what it's called, I think.
Luna.
Did I pronounce that correctly? I don't even know. It's a very flowery. It looks beautiful. Like beautiful.
It's quite lovely, and it's not as like, I don't know, it's like something about Marseille, like the regalia is just not my jam. So, oh, that's their website. Oh, this might be it. Here is their website talking about their Marseille deck if you guys want to see.
Yeah, I agree, Robin. I agree.
But I like their art style, and I already have a deck by them. So I think that if I was going to dip my toes into anything, this is probably the right way to do it. Still maybe kicking and screaming a little bit. Let me see if I can find their Kickstarter. Here it is. Oh, it ends in 69 hours, guys. So if you're going to go for it.
Ooh, yeah, very.
So there's their Kickstarter. But yeah, follow them on Instagram. They have a lot coming out, even if you're not into tarot or if you're not into Marseille or whatever. They have like journals as well, and their tarot has a lot of crystal references. So if you're into crystals and stuff like that, yeah,
they have a crystal deck that is absolutely beautiful, like a crystal oracle. Oh my god!
They have a Lenormand deck as well, which
I know, and I want it, but it's so expensive.
It is. It's hard to want to pay that much for 36 cards.
I know, but it's even worse in Canada.
I know.
If it's expensive for you, I can only imagine how much it is on.
I'm so glad because I'm using my phone. Oh, I do have my tablet here.
Oh goodness. Don't
look. No, Piggy, stop it. I'm glad that we cannot go online.
I have to look.
Because right now, you guys are doing it and you are tempting all of my piggies. And I'm trying very hard to keep them happy.
Yeah, I almost bought the Lenormand deck. Like it made it into my cart and everything. And I was like, don't do it. Just some $30 US dollars for 36 cards just does well. It's technically 42 cards because they have like extra stuff in their decks, which is another shameless plug for this company. They
Oh,
tend to
okay.
include a lot of extra cards in their
I love when they do
tarot.
that.
Yeah,
For
I really like
Lenormand, I love it because then you can switch cards out if it's like duplicates
Yes.
of like lady and man or whatever. You change it to be gender neutral or something
Yeah.
like that. I love that though.
The green glyphs did that, and I really like it. And the Endless Rose or whatever Lenormand deck I just bought, they did that as
Under
well.
the Roses.
Under the Roses. Thank you.
I still need to watch that video of that deck. Yeah, the Celtic Lenormand too does it.
I'm laughing
One that
because
I
I did see it, and I watched it, and of course, I tapped in. I'm like, we love that deck. That's one of our favorite Lenormand decks. Like, we're just like, and it's by US Games, and
It's
actually,
so
speaking of Lenormand, I recently got a new Lenormand deck. I can't remember the name of it, but it has 52 cards. Now, this deck is an indie deck that I actually only happened to come across because the beloved, I forget her name, but from Soft Baby Bloom, she, on Instagram, she did an indie deck called, God, what's it called? I forget the name of it, but it's a very, it looks like, like the She-Wolf Tarot, by Serpent Fire.
Yeah.
So it kind of has that aesthetic, but it's an oracle deck. And with like gilding, anyways, she did an amazing job. And she was selling a few decks that she had in her collection. So I bought two, which was the Lenormand deck I'm talking about. And it comes in a tin, and there are 52 cards. So regular Lenormand, and then a whole bunch of like extras. That I love. I haven't used it yet, but it's there, and I love it, and I cannot wait. But yeah,
is it not out yet?
No. I think it's out. I think it's an older indie deck. I don't know if it's still in print or not, but it was something that I recently got. That was it was in secondhand buy, so through on Instagram with Soft Baby Bloom. So
okay,
I'm looking at the Lenormand deck from Bouchette Design. So it's 41.33 Canadian, and I have to pay 32.24 for shipping.
That is so weird. I feel like if I buy it, I can just ship it to you for like less than half that.
It's so expensive. So expensive. But yeah, I don't know why it's so expensive, but their decks are really nice. Like they have those other oracle decks, like the astrology cards, the numerology cards. Oh my god,
they have a lot of really cool things, honestly. I'm not the biggest into crystals, but I thought their deck was really cool. And then of course their oracle cards, because I kind of got a taste of it with the tarot deck that I got. And then they're coming out with the 3rd edition of the Meraki tarot.
Yeah.
Well, Robin still doesn't like to kickstart decks. She had a bad Kickstarter experience.
The pricing is too expensive for Canada.
Yeah.
Like Kickstarter indie decks, it's just too expensive because they do the one shipping price, sure, that's fine, but then I have to pay also taxes when it comes into my country. So I end up having to spend like,
I forgot about that part.
Yeah, and duty taxes are high, so like.
Yeah, and when you're one of the unlucky ones that get dinged on that, you're just like, damn it.
Yeah, it's too expensive. So I try not to. What's going on?
Oh, and I guess I forgot what do I want to learn in that question. But obviously I'm learning Lenormand. That's the thing that I'm learning next.
How do
Um,
you remove people from the chat? There's like someone in the chat that's sending strange messages.
It's
Called
probably a bot.
Tarot
yeah.
Destroyer. I love their name though, but
Hey,
they're just sending really random weird messages.
I
Yeah,
don't.
that's a bot. That's probably
I
a
don't
bot.
see them. So,
And I can't see any of
yeah.
the
If you
comments.
Oh,
see
I
it,
So
don't.
you can click the
All I
r-
see is like put user in timeout.
do you have add block list in Restream chat? No. Put them in timeout and I'll see if I can figure it out.
Okay, that's what I did. I think
Oh,
it's on my side, like on my
okay.
channel. Yeah.
Okay, so number 5, this one's fun. Your 3 favorite major arcana.
the Empress, the Hermit, and the Lovers.
Why?
Well, love is a choice. Always has been, always will be.
Huh.
And I'm love, so that's a given. I am a Virgo, and I'm a real life hermit these days, so that's another given. And the Empress, because she's the bearer of life and goodness and love. And she's beautiful. Come on, it's the Empress. Like, yes, those
Not
are my
generally a fan of the Empress, but
You're not generally a fan of the Empress?
For me, it depends.
depends on the deck. It's
Okay.
a 50-50 shot. I don't like pregnant empresses. So,
I
yeah.
love the Empress and the This Might Hurt. I saw her
Yeah.
not long ago. Let me see where she is.
I
Here we
guess
go.
yeah, I can see why people
I love
traditionally will not like the idea of the Empress being pregnant. And I get that, but I guess I sort of am able to see it besides the traditional aspects of it. I also see the what's the word I'm looking for? The significance, if you will, because she doesn't, even though she may appear to be pregnant, she can be pregnant with anything. It doesn't have to be in the traditional form. It could
That's why I
be
like the
about,
light years Empress.
yeah, like, like creativity and things like that. So I and maybe because I've come from a very strict sort of Christian background, whatever. I, I I'm able to look past the traditions, I guess, when it comes to certain things or imagery, or even, when it comes to reading certain things. Like, I know a lot of people tend to get hung up on the actual what they see or what they may hear, but there's a I guess for me, there's a way for me to turn that off.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't always work, mind you, and I think it depends on what it is that I may be looking or whatever. But for the most part, if if to me, if the information is relevant, or it's right, whatever, however it is being expressed, I can get around it sometimes. Not always, but a lot of the time I would say that I can get around it. So,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. It depends. It just, if I have to get around a card, you're not going to be my favorite card.
I get you. I get you. But yeah, like it depends on, like I said, and it depends on the topic. It depends on what it is, but
For
most of the
sure.
time, yeah. So
That's cool, though. I was just curious. All right. So, what are your 3 favorites? And I know you pulled out some cards for us to see.
Yes, I did. So I picked my birth cards as 2 of them. So my birth cards are the Hermit
I love the Hermit.
and the Moon.
I love the
And
moon
I
card too. That's
and
really
I relate to them a lot. Like they're some of my faves in regards to like the major arcana. I relate to them first of all. Um and then I pick the High Priestess.
That's so funny.
I love the High Priestess. It's probably one of my favorites. I love what the High Priestess represents in the sense of like um
higher knowledge.
yeah, higher knowledge, intuition, looking within for knowledge as well, and things like that. And I like the fact that the moon typically represents like the shadow side, also intuition as well. The
Mhm.
hermit I love because literally this is me. Always always self-reflecting, always um like alone in oneself and whatnot and reflecting on things. So I feel like these ones represent me a lot, and that's why I find
Mhm.
them to be my favorite. So
I think
yeah.
now that I think about it, even why I gravitate, I think towards the Empress too, is I think because of the numerology behind it, right? Because of the number 3, and that is my life path number. So that's also I
Mhm.
think why to and then the Hermit is my birth card. So
Yeah.
and like you, I'm very much introspection and all about that.
Mhm.
My favorite Hermit card to date is the one from the Lonely Dreamer Tarot by Melissa Witherspoon.
Lonely
I
Dreamer
backed
Tarot.
that deck when it was first on Kickstarter. She just released the third edition. Yes, I'm a nerd that way, so yes, I have all of them. I also have the Oracle. And when the first deck came out, one of the stretch goals was a magnet of one of the major arcanas, and
Mhm.
the and actually what gravitated me towards that deck in the first place was the Hermit card.
Hmm.
And it's the Hermit card that is on my fridge magnet that I have, and it's still to date one of my favorite representations of the Hermit.
Oh, that's cool. I think my
If you
favorite
see,
Hermit is From the Wild Unknown. I just love that
yeah,
Hermit.
if you
Me
see
too with
it,
the turtle,
it looks
the
like
tortoise.
the Hermit on from the Lonely Dreamer is just one person looks like they're in a garden of flowers, if you will. And they've got this globe illuminating in their hand. Now you can't tell if it's a man or if it's a woman. It's just a being. I think
Mhm.
they look like it could be a monk because of it's got a bald head. Um, but it's just so beautiful. Um, and something about it just really resonated, and so it's still to date my very much my favorite Hermit card.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I like the colors. I like the scenery, I guess, of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, I chose the High Priestess, the Hierophant, which is one of my birth cards, and also the Hermit. That
we all we all
yep.
chose the hermit.
I so the high priestess, I feel like Luke mentioned in his comment, he said the sun feels like his significator card. I feel like
Hmm.
the high priestess is mine when I ask about certain things, especially in like witchcraft and divination.
Yeah.
And then the hierophant I really like because a lot of people, I realize, I don't know why I didn't catch on to this when I first started reading tarot, but a lot of people feel like the Hierophant's really religious. But I guess I'm just so far removed from religion. I felt like more of a mentorship with the Hierophant, and I really like that.
Okay.
Um, the cats are just going crazy. And then the Hermit I liked because it was like that I fell in love with it because of the wild unknown. And then I also just like that concept of, kind of taking that time for yourself, looking within and just stillness. Cause I feel like sometimes I'm bad at that. So those are my 3 favorites. And I like that we all chose the hermit.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Number 6 for anybody still following along, our favorite suit of the miners and why. Alana,
so for me, I think I would say the cup suit is probably my favorite.
I can see that.
Yes, I'm very much all in my feels and my emotions and things like that. So definitely, the cup suit. And if I were to pick a card that is the favorite out of all of them, it would definitely be the Queen of Cups.
That's funny. That answers the next question too. Sort of. It may not answer it, but yes.
So definitely the cup suit.
And I just realized Luke said he's a hermit as well, so he's part of the hermit gang.
Nice.
But yeah, I can totally see you as cups. I'm not surprised. If you had said anything else, I would have been surprised. What about you, Sil?
It depends on the deck. So this is like a really hard because for me, my favorite suit will change depending on how the miners are typically created in a specific deck. But I guess I gravitate towards probably the cups and the pentacles, I would say is what I gravitate towards the most.
Depending on the deck.
Yeah, depending on the deck, but I would say for the most part, if I'm just like generally speaking, I would say like cups and pentacles. And why? I don't know. Typically the art style, honestly. Cups yeah, I don't know why exactly. I just really typically the art style drives me into it being my favorite. For the most part, in regards to like there's no specific reason why I like cups, pentacles over the other two. But yeah, I would say the cups and the pentacles.
Okay. You and Luke have the same answer, more or less. Cups and pentacles.
Yeah. My chat thing is not working on Restream, so I'm like, I don't know what's going on.
Oh, I'll put it up. Luke was saying he also likes cups and pentacles. He likes cups because they deal with the emotions, and pentacles because they're foundations for other things.
Some good reasons.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that one.
I also like pentacles. They're my favorite. Sometimes wands, it depends, but mostly almost always pentacles. And I will say if I don't like certain cards in the pentacle suit, that will make or break me buying a deck. So take that for picky. So I like pentacles because I feel like, the journey of the miners, I relate mostly to all of the pentacles in some sort of way. And I felt like when I was learning to read, it was the easiest for me to understand because of that. So I've always kind of had a better connection with the pentacles. Also, as like a Taurus and stuff, like earth energy, this is me. So anytime pentacles pops up, a lot of times I feel like it's definitely in reference to stuff that I need for me. We lost Sil.
Oh, where'd she go?
We'll hopefully be back, but we'll just
We'll come back.
There we go.
Hey, right. There we go.
It's bothering me because it's just like a blank thing. There's nothing on this.
Hopefully it's fixed.
Well, yeah, I can see.
Okay.
Chat now, so yeah.
So yeah, pentacles is my favorite, all-time favorite. And I'm gonna just kind of flow into question 7. Which of the court cards would you consider as your significator? Alana.
So again, of the court cards, I would say the Queen of Cups. Yeah, definitely.
for obvious reasons.
Yes. I can't think of any other ones that I would gravitate towards. But for the most part, definitely the Queen of
Mhm.
Cups. Probably all the queens, maybe, but
In
more so
some
the
way
Queen of
or
Cups.
another.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
hmm
that makes sense. What about you, Sil?
So I pulled two, and it has nothing to do with my favorite suits. I actually pulled the Queen and the King of Swords.
Oh, both of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Um, I would say, like, for the Queen, I would say it's more because of like clear-mindedness. I'm someone who's pretty objective in like my thought process, and like needing to use like the mind constantly, logic and things like that. For the King of Swords, it's more because I'm someone who's very disciplined.
Mhm.
So I'm someone who says, okay, I'm going to do something, I do it. And I'm someone who's like very structured,
I can totally see that. Yeah.
go by a schedule. So I feel like these two really relate to me in that regard. Um, if I had to pick something else, maybe the wands as well, because like the creativity sense of things. Maybe
Mhm.
the queen of wands, maybe. But yeah, yeah,
I could see that. I mean, you definitely with the Queen and King of Swords, though. That definitely does seem like you.
yeah.
It's very interesting too because I feel like people have this fear of swords, so it's nice that you picked the
Oh,
sword.
I don't fear no card
I know
in the
you
tarot
don't, but I
in
feel
the
like it's
tarot.
good for like the audience to hear like, hey, swords aren't horrible, and I even see myself in them. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I feel like depending on the deck, like there are some decks where I like the sword suit more than other suits. It just depends on like the
I agree.
deck itself, like which suit would be my favorite. But if the swords are done well, then that's,
Mhm.
in my opinion, great, right? I typically don't like when it comes to like the three of swords, like it's always the same thing with the three swords and a heart, and I feel like that card gets kind of boring. But I like the sword suit. I don't find anything scary or anything like,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just not me. I understand why people are scared of certain cards, but me personally, when it comes to my own practice, at the end of the day, it's just a card. So I'm just like, okay, I get it for a reason. Let's look into it. Why did I get this particular card, right? But yeah.
Yeah. I
I
like I think one of my favorite sword cards is actually funny from a deck I don't even have. And that's the Modern Witch Tarot, which is the
Oh,
um the the alternate Ten of Swords card where they're there, but
oh,
she's on her phone. She's like, "I'm fine." That
yeah.
one.
It's the everything is fine card.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
don't think I
That
know
one's
that.
actually funny. That one's actually funny. The Ten of Swords and the Modern Witch is hilarious.
Yeah. That's the one
It's the
that.
Ten of Swords. They give two cards, the Ten of Swords and then the Everything is Fine, and you can either keep them both in or switch them with each other. I personally don't use the Everything is Fine card when I use that deck, but the imagery is the same for the Ten of Swords. So if you just look
Mhm.
up Modern Witch Ten of Swords, you'll see it. It's really funny. She has all these swords in her back and she's on her phone.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's
So
not the
really fun.
regular Ten of Swords card?
Yeah,
so
that's
that
the
again?
regular Ten of Swords card. Yeah.
Oh, it is the regular one. Okay.
Yeah, but there's an alternate to the Ten of Swords where the caption is not Ten of Swords. It says everything is fine.
Oh.
Yeah. And
Okay.
you can switch it out if you want to use that instead of the Ten of Swords, or keep it in as an extra card.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I like when there are alternatives. I think one of my favorite decks that has multiple alternatives is the Star Spinner Tarot because of the
Oh,
multiple
I hate
lovers.
that deck.
You hate that deck? You
Cannot
said?
stand that deck.
I personally don't really I like the artwork is not really my thing for that particular deck. I love the
Yeah.
concept of having multiple lover cards and like the
Yes.
different variety of lovers. What I didn't personally like is that there wasn't an interpretation for each lover's card because they have different imagery within them to at least give the option to keep all of them in, which I think would have been really interesting to see like the perspective of how you would interpret the different imagery for each lover's card because they're doing different things in all of them. So
So you want to hear what why I enjoy the Star Spinner Tarot for this reason? So
sure, go for it.
the reason why, so with the multiple lovers, and the reason why I enjoy the Star Spinner Tarot reading with it is because of the fact that with the multiple lovers, the way that I've seen that now is, yes, outwardly you can incorporate the various different ones according to whichever significator you want, if it's man versus man, blah blah blah. But how I've looked at it now is with the lovers and the idea with it being a choice. And also when it comes to the idea of self-love and things like that, how I've interpreted it now from a sort of psychology, social worky perspective when it comes to reading is that with the various lovers cards, I look at it as being a significant for your, how do I describe this? So like sometimes internal persona. So if the lover's card comes up in a reading, for me with like multiple things and relationship wise, I would then sometimes see the lover's card as being the relationship that one will have with self. So the idea that within all of us we have a masculine and we have a feminine characteristics and things like that. So when it comes to things about self-love and self-healing and things like that, to me, the four different interpretations of the lovers signifies whatever relationship that may be, whatever, if there's a block or there is some sort of conflict that could be internal, depending on what, so I'll keep all the cards in there, like all the lovers cards, and then depending on what comes up, then to me that would be, well, there might be a conflict with the masculine side of things or the feminine side of things, or if it's, if we're talking about a relationship and like the double female comes up, then maybe we're talking about a relationship that involves two females. And that could be any relationship. It doesn't have to necessarily be romantic. That could be, to me, it could be anything, right? So that's how I've now sort of been able to look at the various lovers cards in that deck and be able to incorporate them, that it's not just about the outward expression or with, right, like another person love. It can be the love within self and that particular part of self that maybe either there's conflict or there's whatever, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's an interesting take on it. I'm not a fan of the artwork, like the art style of that particular deck.
It's ugly. The color schemes make no sense. I did a whole rant on it already. I'm not even gonna.
You just
I don't even.
Like, oh dear.
I do like their concepts of the extra cards, though. That is one redeeming quality for the deck, for sure.
Yeah, me too. I like the concept too.
Yeah. And I also, the thing is, I also pair my decks with like multiple others. So even though that one may be a little blah, there's like multiple different decks I'm usually pairing with it anyway. So in that case, I really don't care.
So for me, the core cards that I chose, it's the Queen of Pentacles and then the Queen of Wands.
Yeah.
Mostly, so I feel like I'm mostly represented by the Queen of Pentacles, and then I feel like sometimes in certain situations I can be represented by the Queen of Wands, especially when I'm not being the nicest.
So I
So
would love to hear why. Why?
Yeah, when you're not being the nicest, I would say Queen of Swords. Isn't the Queen of Swords the meanest out of all the queens?
No, the Queen of Wands, right? You said the Queen of Wands.
Yes, but she said in regards to not being the nicest.
yeah,
So I was like,
I
why? Because isn't the Queen of Swords the meanest of
Gotcha.
all the
Yeah,
queens?
okay.
I would say yes, but like the Queen of Swords, I feel like is more like manipulative, and I don't think that I'm manipulative. I just think that I will probably blow up on you after a while. And I feel like the Queen of Wands is more so like she lets like her passions get the best of her. Is
Okay.
That's kind of how I feel about the Queen of Wands. But I also do like the positive sides of her, like being social and stuff like that. But I just feel like when I'm maybe not at my best, I'm being like the maybe not so best side of the Queen of Wands as well. Whereas I would say like the Queen of Swords, I feel like if I was trying to like take advantage of people or trying to coerce people into doing things my way or something like that, where I was trying to mentally get around on someone, then yeah, I would probably have chosen the Queen of Wands or Swords rather.
And just for clarification, I don't consider that anything about me when I pick the Queen of Swords.
I didn't think you did.
Just in case someone thinks that, I'm like, no. I don't think the negative qualities. It's all about the
No,
positive.
no, I didn't think that at all. But just to point it out, I feel like, mostly I feel like I embody a lot of the Queen of Wands or
The Queen of
Pentacles.
Pentacles, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like it pops up a lot when I'm talking about myself along with the High Priestess. But sometimes I feel like maybe the Queen of Wands, it represents me when I'm finally like at my wit's end and everything
So why
along
the Queen of Pentacles?
So I feel like the Queen of Pentacles because she's like the most she it's like a healthy combination being nurturing but also has this like stability to her as well, and also maybe a little into like material things, which I relate a lot to. So which I don't think it's necessarily good or bad, it's just kind of
No.
a thing that it is. But
Yeah.
then also Pentacles represents a lot of the home, and I'm very much I'm social, but I'm also a homebody and like very family oriented, and there's
Mhm.
like this, I
Yeah.
guess because of the groundedness, there's like a practicability about
Practicality?
Practicality, yeah.
yes, about the Queen of Pentacles that I really relate to,
Yeah.
more so than the other queens.
Yeah. I can see that. I can definitely see that.
Mhm. Okay, next one. Is cardstock a big deal for you? This is question 8. Is cardstock a big deal to you, Alana?
So yes and no. So when it comes to so let me go back to like my original tarot that I was one of my first Kickstarters, the True Black Tarot. That cardstock is super thick, okay? And it's
It
a
is, yeah.
luxurious deck. Luxurious deck.
It's 350 GSM, no?
I don't remember. I don't remember the technicals
Let's see.
of the cardstock or whatever. But so I love admiring that deck. And I remember the first time that I was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to use it for the first time. And I went to shuffle it. Now I'm I'm a riffle shuffler. I love ripple, but I also hand over hand as well.
Yeah.
Now that is definitely not a rippling or riffle shuffle deck at all. As a matter of fact, the first time I ever think, and it's a true black, so it's like the whole cardstock is black, right? So then I looked and I'm like, there's a scuff on one of the cards after I shuffled. I'm like, never again. This will just be in an admire deck and never be.
Oh no, that's horrible.
However, However, since then, many Debra came out with their Black Tarot. And that deck pretty much reminds me of the True Black. I was actually thinking of doing a comparative video in regards
Oh,
to two
you
decks.
should.
Yeah,
Like
you should.
one is, super indie, and then the other one being the affordable version, and that's
Yeah.
kind of how I see the two. So I will definitely use the Black Tarot by Debra, and I just keep the other one for sentimental and viewing, luxurious viewing purposes. So um so so back to the question, does cardstock matter? Yes, it does, and no, it doesn't at the same time. I'm not very picky when it comes to cardstock. I think also too, I have pretty, even though they're small, I do have pretty strong hands, and riffle shuffling is something that I do often. So
Mhm.
even sometimes when the deck may be a little bit bigger, um I'm still able to manage even with my tiny hands. Um, Sometimes. Now, if the
Yeah.
cardstock is way too thick, then that's a problem. And
Yeah.
then, right, and I enjoy riffle shuffling, so that has to be a must. I have to be able to do that. And if
Yeah.
I can't, then that no thanks. I'm okay. We'll just leave it to the side.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
What about you, Sil?
So I can't relate on the riffle shuffling because I don't riffle shuffle. I don't even know how to riffle shuffle. So
You weren't a card shark in your past life? Come on.
no,
Speaking
unfortunately,
of
I
card
was not.
sharks, you haven't seen my T-shirt. It
Oh,
says
that's funny.
Yeah, no. I've tried. It's really hard. I can't do it. So I'm just like,
It's
never mind.
okay.
So I overhand only. So for me, it's the same thing. It's a yes and a no. It depends what's going on with the deck. So specifically, like Luke said, finish is probably the biggest thing when it comes to cardstock, like the
Yeah.
finish type. If it's that kind of
I'll
high
be right
gloss that's sticky, no problem. If it's that kind of high
mm,
gloss that's sticky, that won't overhand well. So then we have a problem. I don't like it much. If it's that matte stock that's like really, it's like a matte that's like really too smooth where they just stick together and clump. That too sometimes not that
yeah.
great. But um usually cardstock like that will like loosen up with use, so it's not too bad. So me, it's more the finish than the actual cardstock. I don't mind if cardstock is thick or thin or whatever. Like I have a
Mhm.
few decks where it's pretty like the cardstock is a little too thin, but I overhand. I don't riffle shuffle, so it's not the biggest deal. Like it's not a deal breaker for me specifically. Me, it's more the finish. So, like, if it's that rose petal, oh my god, I'm gonna have a hard time shuffling those because they're just gonna stick to each other, right?
They're the
Uh,
hardest in my opinion.
yeah, and then
Do
the
you have a
very
favorite
in terms of what cardstock?
cardstock?
No, not necessarily. Like there's some gloss cardstocks that I love. Like if I'm thinking of like the all the decks from Liminal 11 that are glossy, I love their gloss cardstock. Like the stock that's in the This Might Hurt, love it. Shuffles like a dream because it's glossy, but it's not high gloss, so they don't
Mhm.
stick together. They glide, which beautiful.
Mhm.
In terms of matte, no, not really. I find a lot of the time matte cardstock will stick together in the beginning, but then
Mhm.
with use they don't, like they start not sticking as much because you've been using them a lot and shuffling a lot and things like that. So they loosen up in my opinion. Um but there's a few decks that I have that I don't like the cardstock of. Like for example, the Good Tarot. I love that deck, but the cardstock is that high sticky gloss, which it's like Hay House's old cardstock, which I'm not a fan of. So I'm really happy that they've changed their cardstock and they've been coming out with like different cardstocks and things like that. But yeah, that deck, unfortunately, I try to use it sometimes and they stick together. You can literally hear the noise of when you're trying to shuffle the gloss just
Yeah.
sticking. It's really funny. But no, I don't prefer, like, it doesn't matter if a deck is glossy versus matte. Obviously, glossy is not good for filming, like YouTube life, not really the best, but
Hashtag YouTube life.
but but you know what, it is what it is, right? You can't do anything about that if you like the deck specifically. But yeah, I think again, it depends. Like yes and no, like a lot of sense. So yeah.
I think for me, it does boil down to the finish. I think if I was not like a YouTuber or like social media tarot user, I would probably say like the cardstock and the card finish of the Everyday Witch Tarot would probably be my favorite.
Oh,
It's just the
Llewellyn.
way that it glides is so it's delicious. I love it. But the high gloss makes it difficult, like Luke and Sil were saying, as like being a streamer and stuff like that, and all the lights everywhere. It's just high glare all the time. But I will say that one of the things that I don't technically have a preference, as long as they're not gonna like dissolve in my hands, I don't really care. But I do lean towards liking slightly thinner cardstock, and I'll kind of show you why. So
Yeah.
I'm a riffle and bridge shuffler. That means
Oh yeah, me too.
all of my decks are going to have a slight bend. You can see how it, kind of pokes out on the side.
Yeah.
But this is a thinner cardstock. Whereas,
you know how to correct that?
Yeah, I just bend it back in the other way or shuffle the other way. But it doesn't bother me too much. So I just kind of, but like if you look at that, this is slightly thicker, and you can see this bend is a lot greater. So the thicker your cardstock, the more likely it is to hold a bend. So it's one of the things I talk about in my reviews when I'm talking about cardstock, because I've noticed some people just don't like that. They don't like when their cards bend, but they like to riffle. Like my Wild Unknown, I've had that from almost the beginning, and that still doesn't have a bend to it, even though I riffle it all the time.
Yeah. So like my solution for that is I love riffle bridge shuffling, but when I do that, I alternate the direction that I shuffle them, so that to help to counteract the bending. The bow. And then if I would say, out of all the cardstocks that I enjoy shuffling, my favorite is linen. I love linen
is
cardstock.
Amazing.
I just got my first linen deck, so I'll have to report back.
I love
linen is really good for bridge and riffle shuffling, because that's the type of cardstock they use for playing cards.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I love the feel of playing cards, but I will say, if you have like a thinner deck and it starts to bend, you can always just give it a quick like that.
Yeah.
But I will say, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that thicker cardstock is harder to riffle shuffle anyway. So like, why, if you're a riffle shuffler, why would you want thicker cardstock? Because like you're not going to be like, if you're an overhand shuffler like me, then who cares, right? It doesn't really matter if the cardstock is thick or thin or whatever. But like, if you're a riffle shuffler, you're never going to be able to riffle shuffle a thick deck like that with 78 cards. Like,
you're not.
It depends, because there are some that I can do, like I said, with strong hands. Dexterity for people is something, right? It's definitely a big thing. So for riffle, I keep saying ripple. For riffle shufflers and bridgers like us, Brittany, like you'll need strong hands to do that. And and the thing is, when it comes to the thicker cardstock, I find that when it comes to control for riffle and bridging, the thicker cardstock, when it is shuffleable, or however the word I'm trying to say is to you, it can't be too thick, but thicker does help for control, because the thinner, 78 pickup, cool. No.
I feel like I actually have, so when I'm overhanding a deck, I like when it's thicker. Because, and I will show you a prime example. This is probably the worst cardstock I've ever seen in my life, and I've mentioned it numerous times. I think I did in my last live with you, Sil, is
oh yes,
from
that
the
one.
Untamed Mystery Tarot. It's gorgeous, but it's made of plastic.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
the
like
same
plastic
kind of
decks, but they
cardstock.
can be really hard because they fly. They will
yeah,
fly. Not
and they're so slippery. And look, I mean, just the bend
I
on
put
this
it?
is just
Mhm.
crazy. I can bend the entire deck.
That's like the cardstock in the playing card deck you sent me, Alana. And that's the
Yeah,
kind of cardstock.
because I've had plastic playing cards, but it's only 52 cards. They're usually
It's like
smaller, easier to
plastic.
control. And
Yeah.
I will say that if I had known the cardstock was going to be like this, I would not have bought it.
Oh, you
It's
can't
probably
hear
one of
it though. It doesn't make noise.
No, see, because it's like air.
Yeah.
It's so hard to use. I remember using it on one of my live streams, and my card just flew everywhere, and I rage quit the deck during the live stream.
Well,
Couldn't do it.
so the thing is, I guess for me, it comes down to like I guess because I have so many different cards and stuff like that, and I'm accustomed working with different card stocks all the time.
Me too.
The decks that I use regularly, I get accustomed to it, so
Yeah.
I know how to adjust my hands accordingly, whatever. But sometimes coming from one deck to another, and if I come from a thicker cardstock and I go to like a linen that is very slippy,
Yeah.
then the first couple of times, yeah, I might there might be a 78 explosion. But once once I've been able to get my hands around it and feel that, then I'm okay. I can control it, and I wouldn't have that happen, more or less. Like I'll be able to do it. But there are some that are just like, really. My kiddies, on the other hand, get a kick out of it because they think it's hilarious, and then but then there's the other part of me that is just like, no, because now I got to bend and pick this all up and find. No, I don't want to deal with this. Like,
Yeah.
this is not like so. But yeah. But I think we very much enjoy linen cardstock, but not when it's too slippy, because there are some that can be a little too slippy.
Yeah.
But for the most part, linen is our favorites.
Okay, nice.
And we find that it holds up the best, because when it comes to like the chipping and whatever, you don't see that as much with linen. And even when it does occur, it has a cooler effect. Like it looks well worn and used and loved, not trashy. Like that's at least that's what I find with linen cardstock. Whereas other ones, especially glossy cardstock with gilding, are prone to chipping and tearing very easily.
Yep, you can see the side
especially as a riffle shuffler. Yes.
This used to be a mirror finish.
Yep.
Not anymore.
So yeah.
I totally feel you on that. All right, number 9. Do you read for others, Alana? Sorry.
You can just call me Banana. That's fine.
Okay, I'm gonna call you Banana.
Yeah, fine. Call me Banana. So reading for other people, no, I wouldn't say that I'm doing that at the moment. I still very much read for myself, and I'm enjoying that. As will I read for other people in the future? That is something, yes, I would say that I will work my way towards, and have desire to do and want to do, and especially how I've been incorporating therapy and stuff like that. There's so much to that I want to explore. Even with the video that we did, Priscilla, with a psychology, like there's so many ideas that are flying in regards to readings and things that could be done, you know, in regards to mental health and things like that. So I am looking to make my way towards that in the future, but at the present, no, just me and my piggies.
What is going to get you from point A to point B in terms of starting to read for others? Just practice, or?
I think more so the confidence and, like, again, the sort of building a kind of I don't know, reading or sort of foundation of what kind of readings I would do. That sort of thing is still what I would say that I'm working on and building.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I totally get it. Sil?
My answer is short. It's sometimes. Sometimes I read for others, sometimes I don't.
Yeah. That is very short.
It
Short and
depends
easy.
on my mood, I guess.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and if I have time, reading for others takes a lot of time. So if I have
Yeah.
time, then sometimes I do.
So you do your cozy tarot Sundays, so I would
Yeah,
count that
I
as
haven't
reading
done
for
that
other
in
people.
like a month because I haven't had time. I've been feeling super burnt out, so I haven't filmed any Sunday videos in like a month. But yeah, but I mean, I read like for others, like privately sometimes. Like there's a community that we're part of. I read sometimes on there, and then I read sometimes on Discord also.
Mhm.
We're in a community that I read sometimes on there as well. But I mainly I've read for free. I haven't done any like professional readings where people pay me. I
Mhm.
eventually would like to go to that. I just need to make sure that I have time for it. That's the
Yeah.
thing. I need to build a structure on like how I can lay things out in a way where I would have time to take on readings that people are going to pay me for, because I would
Yeah.
like to do
Mhm.
that later on.
Mhm.
I just don't have time right now to do that.
Totally feel you. And sometimes it's not about the time, but also just the energy to do it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sometimes I have time, but then I'm just so burnt out that I'm like, I just want to veg out and not do anything.
Yeah, I feel
I
you.
hear that.
For me, I think the answer is obvious because I do live streams. So I do read for other people. Um, but outside of my live streams, I do offer readings. But I'm sorry, my cat's just going crazy over here. I do offer readings, but I'm still working on like building up clientele to do that and
Mhm.
trying to
Mhm.
discern the best way to market and stuff like that. So the not so fun side of selling stuff online.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do
Have to
read for people.
have to advertise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
sure. And it's been a process because I've been sort of transitioning Cosmic Lunar Soul into what I want it to be.
Yeah.
So trying to still offer some physical products, but still add on my services and find a balance between the two because
Mhm.
the goal isn't for it to be like my full-time job or anything. So I have to balance what I have the bandwidth to do.
Yeah.
And that's been taking some time, but I think, slow and steady wins the race, right? So,
Yeah, exactly. And I feel the
Absolutely.
same way.
yeah. So taking some time to kind of remove things, add things, tweak things, and stuff like that, and figure out what I want to do. So my goal is the same. I'm just kind of like on the road to figuring about, what I want the finish line to look like.
Yeah.
So you're coming in like the Knight of Pentacles, not the Knight of Wands or the Knight of Swords, but the Knight
Very,
of Pentacles.
very much so the Knight of Pentacles. He's my favorite knight. As if that was not obvious, but yeah, I really like
Well,
him.
he's the slowest of all the knights, right?
He,
So
he
slow and
is. And
steady wins the race, as you said. So that would be the
yeah,
Knight of Pentacles.
although
What
he's
deck?
pro-
What deck
pro-
was it that you guys recently did? And there was we were talking about. I think you guys did one, and a knight was on a donkey. We were like, I feel
oh,
like
was
that
it
was a recent
the
tarot deck that you guys did
the
on
Trickster's
together.
Journey?
Was it the Trickster's Journey?
Was it?
Was it that one where the knights were represented on weird animals, weren't they?
Maybe it was. I can't
Mm,
remember, but there was one, and I
Hold on.
remember we were
Was
going
it
through
one we
it.
did live or
Was
I
it a
think
live?
so.
Was it a live
I
if it
think
was
so.
live, it was definitely the
unboxing,
Trickster's
or
Journey. I
were
remember
we
like
just
a
talking
lizard
about?
or something. Or a turtle.
But
Yeah,
okay, maybe
I
it
don't
was a
think that was a
turtle. It was either a
donkey.
donkey or it was a turtle. It was something slow. I do remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we were having a debate about what's slower or something like that. Hold on, let me.
We were asking about a turtle or something, but I don't know what the other thing was.
Okay, let me find it.
Luke, you're totally right. Burnout is real sometimes. You just need a
It
break.
really is. It really is. Okay, here's the Knight of Swords. Let's see.
What's he on? The swords.
Some kind of tiger, I think.
Oh, okay. I don't think we're debating on what's faster,
No,
tiger
it
or
wasn't this
turtle.
one.
I'm almost done, Mr. Paulo.
I feel like I want to say it was a dog. It was a donkey.
Hold on.
Because we were also talking about the fact that the animal is also stubborn, and we were trying to wrap our heads around the idea of the slowness, and the thing about the donkey, and I remember thinking that no, the donkey was actually a really good representation, because the donkey is slow and steady, but it's also stubborn.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not disciplined with it, it will behave like an ass, because it's an ass. Right?
Yeah.
So that's why that, for some
Okay,
reason, is etched
no,
in my head.
no donkeys in this. No donkeys in this. So
Okay,
we had for the Knight of Coins, we had some kind of lizard,
okay. So then I can't remember what deck that would have been then.
and then we have the Knight of Wands, which is on a bird.
I think we're debating on if a lizard or a turtle is faster.
Yeah, which is the Knight of Cups, which was the turtle.
Yeah.
And then the Knight of
maybe that
Swords
was the
was
one.
the tiger. So we were debating the Knight of Coins and the Knight of Cups. And I think we came to the realization that it made sense because the turtle can be faster in the water
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
than the I think we looked up this
Komodo dragon or whatever it is.
yeah, I think we looked this up and it said that it was pretty
So I'm
slow.
trying to think what deck I could be thinking of, where I saw.
It could have
No.
still been this deck, but maybe not the court cards, because there were a lot of animals represented in this deck.
Maybe you're
I
right.
don't remember a
Yeah.
donkey though.
I don't either, but
Because this is based on like Chinese mythology, so
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think they have
So I can't think of what deck that would have been, but I swear I thought there was a knight that was riding on a donkey.
I don't remember.
I
I
can't
honestly
remember.
don't.
It's okay. It'll come to
Yeah.
us like in some weird obscure time.
Yeah, and if it
yeah,
does,
exactly.
just someone message each other to let us know because I don't.
I have a feeling it will happen sometime in the middle of the night. I'll just be laying there in bed, and then all of a sudden it'll just hit me out of nowhere, and I'm like, really? Meow?
Yep, that's how it always happens.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you guys ready for number 10?
Sure.
This is very much up Sill's alley. Number 1 deck you're excited to have come out this year. Do you have any, Elena?
Okay, well, the one that all right, piggies, calm down. The one that is they're screaming at me about right now is the Wisdom of Pooh.
Yes.
Wisdom of
Yeah.
Pooh Tarot. For so many reasons. One being the fact that I still have yet to do, and I'm doing an unboxing video
Mm-hmm.
for that deck because Serafina sent me a copy of, well, technically 2 copies of the Earth, Moon, and
Shadow Orb.
Shadow Oracle. Yes.
Oh, I love that.
So, and the way that all of that came about, I actually received it twice, and they were both on days that I had therapy. And the last few weeks have been mentally draining and really rough. So the fact that I received those decks on those particular days after rough therapy sessions was like, I'm on my right path. This is a confirmation that I'm on my right path because I'm talking about shadow work. And I started in, I would say a tag, but the series of therapy and shadow, which came about after my joint video with Priscilla. And with everything that has gone on, that I feel like that has blown open a lot of things for me. Please, Piggy, don't make me cry. Stop it.
Aw,
Oh,
it's okay.
yeah, it's okay.
And so the idea on how
You're gonna make me cry.
the way tarot and therapy have really come together for me.
Mm-hmm. It's meaningful.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so the wisdom of Pooh Tarot, because the premise behind Winnie the Pooh
Mm-hmm.
and the story is that historically it was written, and the characters in Winnie the Pooh are representations of mental health.
Yep.
Right? So we have
Mhm.
Tigger suffers from anxiety, Pooh, the eating disorder, and they're all friends. Eeyore suffers from depression.
Depression, yeah.
So that I feel like that, and the connection with Serafina and the fact that they are the ones bringing out this wisdom of Pooh Tarot just sort of brings it all back together for me. And so that's why I think for me that is why out of all the decks that are coming out, Wisdom of the Pooh Tarot means the most.
Aw, I can't wait for you to
So
get it.
Yeah. Me too.
Aw, are you a sympathetic crier still?
Yeah. Oh
Aw.
my god.
So we can't wait, and we know we're all getting the deck. And so we want to do an unboxing with you guys for the deck.
Of
Yeah, we
course.
should totally do that.
Yeah.
That would be fun,
That would be
actually.
really super fun. And
Oh, Luke is crying too.
oh gosh. And if it
I'm
makes you
sorry.
cry even more, she's creating a tarot deck based off of Earth, Moon, and Shadow. But what is that? Not till 2024, right, Sil?
Yeah, the Kickstarter is coming next summer.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
then the second version of Wisdom of the Pooh, the one with Tigger in it, is coming out in February, I believe, the Kickstarter. So it's
Mhm.
what is it? Wisdom of the Pooh and Tigger 2.
I think so.
Oh,
So yeah, if you want to cry some more, Atlanta, you have all next year as well.
Yeah, that's the one with Tigger in it, because this version doesn't have Tigger because of the
Copyright.
legality. Yeah, the
Mhm.
copyright and the legality of it. So
oh my god. Well, yeah, so all the piggies are gone crazy right now. Oh
Mhm.
my goodness. And the minions. Oh, Jesus.
yeah,
So that I think that was a good pick for a
yeah,
deck. I feel like
yeah.
I'm very excited to see that one. especially because I got to watch as she's like created it, a lot of the
I
behind the
know.
scenes, and Serafina is just so sweet. So
She's amazing.
honestly, great pick for the deck you're excited for.
Yeah.
What
So
about you?
shameless plug.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Real quick, shameless plug. Yes, the Earth, Moon, and Shadow deck, and is I'm definitely going to be doing an unboxing / video for it.
Can't wait.
Now that I've also haphazardly ended up with 2 copies, and I only need one, and we know who I am. What do you think I'm going to be doing?
Giveaway.
A giveaway, yeah.
So that is the plan for when that video finally get around to doing that video. And yeah, so if you're not already subscribed, you might want to get on that because it's coming. So, and it's the deck and the guidebook. So, and whatever other goodies that I choose to throw in there. So, like, you're gonna, yeah, let's just say that. We'll just say that. My shameless plug. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, I can't pick just one. Sorry, there's too many good decks coming out this year. So I can't pick just one. If I'm talking about mass market specific, I'm gonna go with specifically 2. So in terms of mass market, my most favorite options that are coming out this year that I have already pre-orders for would be the Unfolding Path Tarot and the Forhoxa Tarot. Both of which were previously indie and were actually picked up by Hay House to bring out mass market. So I have those 2 pre-ordered, and I have been wanting them. Well, I've been wanting the Forhoxa Tarot for a very long time, since it came out, since MJ released it. And I'm really excited to finally get it. It's really up my. I love MJ's work, but the subject matter is really up my alley. So it has to do with like fae and like mermaids and things, and I love fantasy kind of decks. So I'm really excited for that specifically. And then the Unfolding Path, I love that since the Kickstarter, and Kickstarters are just so expensive. And this particular one was funded and created in the UK because the creator is from the UK. So it would have been really expensive to bring it into Canada, because I think it was like $90 or something Canadian for me or something like that. So
Which one?
The Unfolding Path. Yeah, it was quite expensive, I think, to bring into Canada from the UK when they did the Kickstarter. So yes, so I couldn't do that. But I was like, maybe one day I'll get it. And then Hay House never announced it, but then I found specifically her crystal ball oracle, the pocket deck that she made long time ago, and I had on my wish list from on Etsy to get eventually. And I saw that Hay House picked that up, and I found it randomly during my research. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then I just said randomly in one of my videos that if they picked up already that, and they already picked up also her runic oracle, which was also indie, I'm like, I'm sure they'll pick up the Unfolding Path. And then, like I said, they did. They did. So I was super happy. As soon as I was able to find it on Canadian Amazon, I pre-ordered it right away. So that's on my pre-orders. That's supposed to be coming in August, so I'm super excited for that. And then for indie, which I don't really get a lot of indie to begin with, it was obviously is going to be Wisdom of the Pooh also. And for me specifically, it was for a different reason. I actually grew up with Winnie the Pooh. I have a set of books that my mom gave me when I was a child, with the original artwork. So they're not Disney Winnie the Pooh. They're actually with the original artwork from the original creator. The original artist, rather, of the Winnie the Pooh series. So they're like from the 90s or whatever, the 80s or 90s, something like that. And that's really the reason that I really love the fact that they created the deck, both Seraphina and her sister Angel. And I was really excited when I saw that. I was like so ecstatic. I'm like, I need this in my collection for nostalgia, inner child work. That's like my childhood right there because I grew up with those particular books. So I'm really excited. I'm hoping once I get it, I can like dig out. I have to find the original. They're in like a box somewhere in my closet. I have to find like the original books and see if I can bring them out to show them also. We're gonna have to see about that, but I don't remember if it's like in a storage container or an actual box from moving, and I just left it in the box. I don't even remember, so I'm gonna have to check and see if I can find them. But they're in my closet somewhere. But yeah, I'm
And
so
then she
excited.
killed me. She killed me when I guess she got the prototype in of Wisdom of the Superhero.
You sound a little weird, Alana. Can you hear us?
What?
You sound like distant.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
You sound the same. 1 second. Say something.
Hi.
Yeah, you sound the same. We can hear you though, so it's fine.
Okay, I'm wondering if it's charging, so I don't know why that would be weird. But anyway, okay.
I don't know. Is your hand covering the mic on the phone? Because you're using your phone, right?
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you just plug it in?
No, it's been plugged in for a while now.
Okay, that's weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay. Anyway, what was that? I can't remember. Oh yeah, the Instagram thing when I saw the Wisdom of the
I know. I can't wait to see the mini version. She said she was gonna make a YouTube video. I'm waiting. Like as soon as that becomes live, I'm like, I need to watch this. Right
I
away.
know.
Oh my god, my piggies!
I'm so excited. The artwork looks amazing.
I feel like the way I picture this in my head is like when when you get like your hair stands up or whatever. But the image that comes to me in my head is like 40 plus piggies, and they're all just they're staring up at me.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for that deck. Like so excited. You can soon you'll be able to pre-order the book.
So I can't wait. That's exciting. What about you?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that last thing.
What about you, Miss Brittany?
Oh, yeah. So I mentioned earlier I'm on a low buy this year, so I feel like I don't really have much I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the Wisdom of Pooh because I really like Seraphina.
Yeah.
But I actually did not grow up watching Winnie the Pooh, so I don't have any like emotional ties to it. I'm just looking forward to it because I loved her previous deck, and it's like the intermediate before I can get more of her deck. So I'm looking forward to that. And then, I actually don't know what's being released this year versus next year, but I've been following the creator of the Endless Oracle. He's creating a tarot deck. So I don't know if it's going to be released. Like, I don't know if he's going to kickstart it at the end of this year or how that's going to, or if it's the beginning of next year. But I am looking forward to that because I love when I'm able to like seamlessly pair tarot and oracle together. Even though it's fun to mix and match and figure out how things work, I really like having sets by the creators as well.
Me too.
And then I'm also interested in the mini Black Femme. But I think that's coming out next. I don't remember when that's coming out.
Didn't they announce that it was coming out this year?
I think it's coming out this year, yeah.
Okay.
It's a pre-order, no? Is it going to be kickstarted or is it going to be pre-order?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I would have to look that up, but she's already got prototype shown on Instagram and stuff like that. So and what is really cool, what I'm really looking forward to is the fact that especially with the mini, is that some some of the outfits for the characters have been changed. So that's going to be a really cool contrast between the full and the mini. It's not just going to be like an entire mini, like it's going to have some significant differences. So
yes,
it's going to be a Kickstarter.
Okay.
Okay, so it is going to be Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's what it said. And
so
yeah, I'm just reading her Instagram.
Yeah, I have to go through and look at it.
But there's no launch date yet.
No. So
yeah, but no, but I think she is planning for this year. So.
Oh, you sound better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened because I didn't do anything different.
Okay.
Okay, it's weird.
I'll take it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's changing some of the cards I see here.
Mm-hmm.
I like a lot of the changes too, so it does make me excited to see
that King of Swords though. Nice. I like that King of Swords.
So I think Prisma Visions is the only deck that I have like the regular size and the mini size.
Mm-hmm.
I generally don't like to buy minis if I have the regular size.
Oh.
I know, like, blasphemous.
I don't think so.
You?
I know, how blasphemous of me. I'm kicked out of the group.
No, I still love you. It's
okay.
But
like the light series, I can't wait for the light series.
Yeah.
Yes, it's coming out in August.
It makes me wish I had just waited a little bit to get the regular light series. Like I just got that deck.
And don't forget the Crow Tarot.
The which one?
The Crow Tarot.
Oh, I'm not really into the Crow Tarot, but yeah,
I need it.
I was like, I know you guys.
Hello. Yes. Oh, my piggies. Yeah, we need it too.
My biggest, like, #1 pocketed deck that I'm so excited for is the pocket version of the Wild Unknown Archetypes, which is coming out next year. But I don't know if it's coming out in a tin or what. But it's I don't know if it's gonna still be round cards.
We don't care. We don't care where it comes in. We just know we want it because it's mini.
Yeah,
for sure, for sure.
We need the mini.
And I love Kim Cran, so I need that. She also has a game coming out.
I'm interested in the game.
Yeah, it's coming out this week.
Especially after getting the Citadel Oracle. I guess in reality, the Citadel Oracle was what I was most excited for this year, and I got it. So, but
true.
Yeah, we so want that. We so want that deck. We want that one.
But it's so cool because it has a game with it, and the Citadel Oracle is really what made me bite the bullet and learn Lenormand, because the Oracle cards that went along with the Oracle cards are
the second deck that comes with it, right?
Yeah, they were designed with Lenormand in mind, so I was like, oh, maybe I should actually learn Lenormand. But it has a game that goes along with it, and I need to find like friends to actually play it because it seems like so much fun.
Oh, I know. I would.
Yeah,
totally...
we want the game too, and we want to play it. But again, we are a hermit, so there's really nobody else to play with except
for
the
me.
It's in my head, and they can't play the game with me outside. So
yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah, but I love that deck
game
too.
Comes out this week.
Which one?
Yeah, I think it comes out this week.
What, the game?
From Kim Kranz, yeah.
Okay.
Luna, is it time to go? Come on.
We have to look.
Oh no, I guess they moved it. It comes out in August.
Oh.
Yeah, but they have no pictures of it. And I really want to see how the game looks.
Oh yeah, so
they only have a game of the box, and that's it.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Okay, so it's time for the lightning round. So this is just short, sweet, and quick. Okay, lightning round questions. Here we go. Number 1, coffee or tea?
Tea.
Tea.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Colors or monochrome?
Both.
Colors. Even though I'm wearing black and white.
Also colors. Cats or dogs?
Neither. I'm allergic.
Oh,
Cats.
cats.
Is your cat staring at the screen?
Yes,
It
he's
looks like
looking
it's
at
staring at you. Actually, from where I'm sitting,
No,
it looks like
from
it's
where we're
looking at
looking,
you.
it looks like he's
Yeah,
looking
he
at
looks like he's looking at still right now.
Yeah.
And not very. He's not very impressed. Apparently, the best
He-
facial expression.
Yeah, he's just like, this is an interesting program. Flora or fauna?
Flora.
Both.
I'm gonna go with Flora. Favorite time of day?
Night.
Morning.
Also night.
Yeah, no,
And then-
we're
I'm
asleep,
not a night person.
and I'm not a morning person. Unless I've been awake from the
Yeah.
nighttime, and I haven't gone to sleep yet. Then
Oh
that's fine.
God, never mind.
I feel like I'm the most creative at night.
Me too. Me too.
Okay, last one, and you can elaborate if you need to. Favorite things besides tarot?
Books,
Ooh.
movies.
Reading, photography, music,
That's a good one.
Yeah.
and TV also, like TV shows.
Yeah. I think for me, it would definitely be TV shows and some movies. And then I also like
And TikTok
dodgeball.
is crap.
It sounds weird, but I love dodgeball and
Well, yeah.
wine.
Wine, that's a good one.
Yes. So Luke says coffee over tea. He also likes both in terms of colors or monochrome.
Yeah.
He chose dogs over cats like a demon. And then he likes he likes fauna, night, and reading, watching anime, TV, movies, painting. Oh, that's fun.
Ooh,
Nice,
astrology. Yes,
nice.
I like astrology too. Astrology.
Yeah. Oh yeah, still
Yeah,
definitely likes
astrology. Yep.
I could take it or leave it.
I also like writing, which I didn't include writing.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Poetry. I love poetry.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think that's, I don't know. I know I like other stuff, but now I'm blacking out. I can't think of it.
Gaming. Don't you like gaming?
Oh, I do like gaming. I used to really love it, but kind of fell out of it in grad school, and then I really got into board gaming, but then I moved and I lost my game group, so I haven't done it in a while. But I
Me
have a
too.
buddy-
Yeah, video games is something I very much enjoy.
Yeah.
Games, period. But yeah, computer games, console games.
Yeah. Used to be really big into that.
Yeah, me too.
I used to work at EB Games.
Oh God,
Oh,
that's
nice.
way to age us.
Nice.
I used to love EV games.
Is EB Games not a thing anymore?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not well, it's not really for me.
I know what they are. I used to know what they were too, but I didn't know they were not the thing anymore. I'm so out of touch.
They're still a thing, but I think for certain people we've moved past. We've outgrown. We've graduated, I guess, if you will. Not to say like I don't still have my consoles. I still do, and they're very much still plugged in. I just haven't used them in a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up with computer gaming, so I own no consoles except for my Game Boy Advance, which I still own and still have games for.
I still have my Game Boy Color. I found it the other day and I was like,
really?
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Now I don't go that far back. I've got my DS Lite and my DS and my 3DS.
I think I sold my
I'm very
3DS.
much a Nintendo girl, so
yeah.
I literally only have Game Boy Advance, and then I did mostly computer gaming. That's
Yeah.
literally what I grew up on.
I
Playing games on the
actually,
computer.
I was into computer gaming for a bit with Sims and then Ragnarok Online, I think it was, and then
Minecraft is like the biggest thing. I've had
Yeah.
Minecraft since before it was popular.
I never got into Minecraft, but my best
I
friend
love
was
it.
into it. And
I love
then
it so much.
recently I downloaded the Harry Potter game and I was like, this is so fun. But
I need to do that. I need to
It's
do
so
the
fun.
Harry Potter game.
I finished it. I almost never finished video games because I get bored and I'm like, okay, next game. But I actually finished a game for like maybe the second time in my entire life ever.
So I'm
Oh,
probably going to
okay.
age myself quite a bit here. One of my favorite computer games from back in the day, long before I was actually of legal age to even play the game, Leisure Suit Larry.
I've never heard of that.
I don't even know what that is.
Okay, yeah, because I've definitely outdated myself apparently. Yep. So that's like that's a computer game from way back in the day, like sometime in the 80s, 90s, whatever. And and I remember because in order to enter, because it's supposed to be an adult video game, whatever, but the graphics, come on now. So there was a thing where in order to play the game, you had to be 18 or over, and then there used to be the questions and that you had to guess in order to get into the game. Before, like, to bypass, because it
Okay.
was that way of trying to figure out if you were 18 or older or not. But it was not that hard to like manipulate eventually. If you
Well,
got
yeah, it was the
really
80s
far.
and 90s.
Yeah. There were no rules back then.
So somehow, I don't know why, but maybe I think that was, out of all the parts of playing that game, that was probably one of the best parts, was trying to
Break
beat
into the game.
to get into the game, was trying to beat the thing. And then there's a part in Leisure Suit Larry, he's trying to get laid, and now you have to figure out how to get him to talk to the woman at the bar to get her to go into the room with him, but it's censored. So like when they go to do the deed, there's like this censor thing that comes up, but it's so funny. It was like imagine cartoon, if you can think of the graphics from way back in the day.
Don't they do that in Sims though?
What's that?
Kinda. Yeah, they do. They do that in Sims now, and they
but
don't.
no, but it wasn't. But it wasn't freeform that way. Like there were tasks that you had to
Yeah.
perform to advance in the game. Yeah. So, anyways,
That's funny.
so. And
Well,
if I think you guys know nothing about that, yeah, I totally aged myself. Thanks.
I don't think you're that much older than both of us, but that's okay.
No. I just think I don't know a lot of like random pop culture stuff or things that were popular back in the
Neither
day.
do I.
So that's probably why.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's more likely, actually.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll give you that, Scott.
Okay. So
That helps me. It makes me feel better because then I don't feel as old.
yeah, you're welcome. Well, guys, this was so much fun. We need to find some more short tarot tags or something, or maybe tarot discussions that we can have, and we can pull you back in, Alana, because it was a good time, and I think this is a good way for I guess YouTube to get to know all three of us, and
for sure.
Yeah.
Chat.
and chatting with you guys is always fun. Like
Luke.
What happened?
Luke, I'm the baby of the group for once.
Oh, go home, you fetus.
He's probably like, I'm already home.
I know.
Yeah, I think Luke is in his early 20s or something, no?
Something like that.
20, 21,
Oh, when I wouldn't need to go back there.
I'd never want to go back there.
Well,
I'm good,
now that
I'm good in my
as
30s.
soon as I
Points
said
to
it,
go
I
back
heard
there.
myself. I'm like, Do you really want to go back there?
No, just my joints. If I could just send my joints back in time, and yes, I would do that.
It wouldn't have really changed much for me. I still had a bad back in my 20s, so it's fine.
No.
I will take myself back, because to the 20s, because then the weight there was a lot less
26,
weight.
my bad.
What's that?
26.
Luke is actually 26.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what?
I made him younger than he actually was.
Yes.
I will go
Which is
back
a
to
good thing,
26.
but
Actually, that's still a pretty good age, because you see, for me, 25, and I will never go anything younger than 25. And
Yeah,
why?
I agree.
Because you cannot rent a car under the age of.
You can. It just costs more.
Well, yeah,
you can't rent a car under the age of 25. What?
You can. It just costs more.
So, okay, apparently you cannot rent a car under the age of 21.
Is this an Ontario thing? Oh
No.
yeah, Ontario.
No, I think
No?
this might be a global thing. I'm
Really?
not entirely sure.
Never heard
I think
of
it depends.
such a thing, but okay.
Yeah.
I think it depends. But I remember once when I was back when I was 21, and I was trying to rent a car to drive to Montreal. Oh no, I was 19, I think, or just before that. They wouldn't allow, because I had to be 21. So, and then, but 21 to 25, it's a lot more expensive because of insurance purposes.
That makes
So
that makes
after
sense in terms of
25,
insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember my first job, I was 24, and it was my first how I started my career, and I had to
professional
go
job.
away for work for training, and they tried to get me to be the one to get the rental, and I was like, I'm 24, they'll rent it, but I don't know if I can do it through the system because it'll cost more. And they're like, oh my god, you fetus. A bunch of 50-year-olds
I can't relate to any of this. I don't have a license. I don't drive, so.
Oh yeah, you're missing out on the fun road rage.
It's too expensive.
It is.
Yeah, to go to driving school, it's mandatory to go to driving school, and driving school is over $1,000.
Oh, ugh.
Yeah,
It's not that much here.
I
And
forgot how much I did.
gas is more expensive over there as well.
Yeah.
All
Public
right,
transit
guys.
is cheaper for me, so that's what I do.
As much as I love chatting with you guys, I'm hungry, and the cats have been circling like sharks.
Oh yeah, my belly has been calling for food for a while.
Yeah. So this is so much fun, guys. I guess before we get off, do you guys have anything exciting coming up?
Not coming
Other
up,
than my giveaway?
but not coming up, but I am still running a giveaway. Today is actually the last day to enter for the Daily Magic deck and Letting Magic in book. So if you want to enter my giveaway, definitely check out my video. I guess I don't know where to put it. Can you get it, Cosmic Brittany?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna take forever to load for me. We could put it in the chat. I think that would be easier.
Yeah.
It's taking.
And I realized that my alerts didn't go off throughout the chat, but Syl and I have our 1-year streaming anniversary coming up. And if you guys have questions,
yeah, we're gonna be doing a Q&A next month.
Yes. Let me see. Let me find your giveaway video.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's loading now. Maybe I can get it.
What's it called?
It's literally just called Daily Magic Deck. Here, I found it. I'll do it.
Oh, I see. You got it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So if you want to ask questions that we'll answer during our live stream, let me get that form for you. You can use the form to submit your questions. Make sure to post about it on Instagram and stuff as well. And yeah, that way we can just spend some time chatting with you guys who have been joining us during our live streams. And
I have a
yeah.
question.
Yes.
The piggies have a question. Who's the
Yes.
oldest?
I'm sorry.
Brittany.
Who's the oldest?
Oh, I guess me. I'm
Yeah, it's you.
36.
Yeah, and I'm turning 32 in December.
Yeah.
You guys are so cute. I wish I was those ages still. I'm the oldest.
Are
Yes.
you?
Yeah. I'm gonna be
Oh,
41 this year in September.
really?
Yeah.
Well, black don't crack, so oh.
So again, we'll go back to the fact that the reason why you don't know about Leisure Suit Larry.
Yeah.
But we're not that far in age difference. Like,
No.
what is that? 5 years?
No, but
and
there's
then
that's still a significance for the age that I'm thinking that I was playing Leisure Suit Larry. I was
Yeah.
like 10, okay, and trying to guess.
Yeah, that would explain a lot. So do you consider yourself Gen X? Or older millennial?
I guess no. I think that makes me. I think I'm more I'm probably maybe a cusper, I guess, if you will. I could be a cusper. I think I more identify as a millennial, but mind-wise, because also I did grow up around a lot of older people, so I think that in a way I kind of have a Gen X mindset, I guess, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm more so probably leaning on the side of the millennial.
Okay.
That one. Yeah.
All right, let me go ahead and end the live stream. So we'll reconnect. But you guys can stay on. I'm just going to end the live stream. So everybody who is still listening, Luke and any lurkers, thank you guys so much for joining us. If you have
Thanks
any
for
ideas
watching.
that you want us to do in the future, go ahead and comment and let us know. And if you want to ask me and still some questions for our 1-year streaming anniversary, go ahead and use that link that I sent. Alrighty, guys, we will talk to you later.